Copyright disclaimer. Under Title 17 U.S.C. Section 107, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. Okay. This is Scientology news, so I don't know how much of this I can read. And I do need to look into more of this symbolism of the 8-pointed cross. I believe there's some type of occultic references there. Always going for the children. Scientologists introduce human rights education. No, that's L. Ron Hubbard indoctrination. To Ecuador schools, police. What does that mean, you guys? What does that mean? June 25th, 2013. Injecting tolerance and compassion into Ecuadorian society. You know, because they don't have their own, right? With the Human Rights Initiative, you know, run by slave labor, supported by the Church of Scientology. If I didn't read the date, I'm going to read it again. June 25th, 2013. I always got to go for the kids. Over the past 3 years, hundreds of thousands, you know, that's like 2, of Ecuadorian students, you know, children, have learned the basic principles enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Imagine this. Imagine them talking about human rights. Through a human rights education program supported by the Church of Scientology. Scientologists from the Church of Scientology, Mission of Quito, led by Emeline Carrera, launched a human rights initiative by introducing Quito police and government officials to the program and gaining their support. Say pointing anyone? Carrera presented a human rights lecture to the National Assembly. So I guess they mixed church and state there. Then learning that the Ministry of Heritage was looking for a program to address discrimination and racism. We'll just go look into L. Ron Hubbard. He was a racist. It's on public record. He was such a racist that when he was doing all of his tape-recorded lectures and that he would always use the N-word. And people like Mike Rinder and other people had to go in and clean that out from his lectures. To address discrimination and racism, she offered her help through the human rights curriculum developed by Youth for Human Rights International. Talk about feeding on children. The curriculum consists of the Youth for Human Rights Educator's Guide, the Story of Human Rights documentary that illustrates the history of human rights from ancient times to today, 30 public service announcements. This is all propaganda that brings to life each of the 30 articles of the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. United, a hip-hop music video that advocates human rights and nonviolence. Inversion much, you guys? United, a hip-hop... Oh, I read that. What are human rights? A fully illustrated version of the UDHR in booklet form, written in terms youth can understand. Of course it is. Because that's how you get the child slaves. Posters depicting the 30 articles of the UDHR. under the sponsorship of the government. Wasn't that wonderful, you guys? Isn't that wonderful that the government is sponsoring it? Volunteers, slaves, led by Carrera, set out on a national human rights educational tour across Ecuador, where they reached more than 14,000 students in schools and colleges. Well, how to feed off children, Student participation was so successful. I'll bet it was. Did they get the R2 visas? The Ministry of Heritage incorporated the program as a permanent part of their annual campaign. The first year, the campaign reached 7 provinces. See, this is how the Illuministas get their tentacles out to the people. In 30 cities in 15 provinces, participated with more than 32,000 students. Not 33? Why not 33,000? Learning their rights and responsibilities. Because, the natives of that country, they need to be told what their rights and responsibilities are, right? The next year, they brought human rights education, the indoctrination, to all 24 provinces of Ecuador, including the Galapagos Islands, reaching more than 200,000 students in 50 cities throughout the country. Well, they always inflate the numbers, but it's still disgusting. Scientologists, aren't they like in Ecuador? Isn't it more like Catholic religion there? Scientologists on 5 continents engage in collaborative efforts with government agencies and non-governmental organizations to bring about broad-scale awareness and implementation of the 1948 United Nations Universal Declaration of Human Rights, the world's premier human rights document. These people look like adults. Oh, I think he's got the Way to Happiness book. And no offense, because Ecuador, isn't it like Spanish speakers? Maybe they're giving the propaganda in Spanish. The Church of Scientology published Scientology, How We Help. United for Human Rights, making human rights a global reality. Right. Making human rights a global reality, giving children sec checks and giving children ethics handlings, labeling them with conditions of treason, conditions of doubt, conditions of non-existence, just for beginners. Making human rights a global reality to meet requests for more information about the human rights education and awareness initiative the church supports. To learn more, where do you guys think? Visit http://www.scientology.org/human rights. Scientologists conducted workshops, that's indoctrination, to train teachers on the Youth for Human Rights curriculum. Shouldn't there be like a lot of rules and restrictions on any organization with the word youth in it or encompassing children? Ecuadorian educators at a Youth for Human Rights training seminar. Here's where they go for the kids, guys. You knew they were going to come. Look at all the children. Los niños. Los niños. Que son los derechos. I don't know what that other thing says. Averiguarlo. They need more children slaves. Over the past 3 years, hundreds of thousands of Ecuadorian students have learned the basic principles. It sounds very Freemasonic to say that, like basic principles. Enshrined. Listen to that, you guys. Enshrined. It's enshrined in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights through a human rights education program supported by the Church of Scientology. Oh, there it is. ¿Qué son los derechos humanos? Averiguarlo. I think that has something to do with like all humans should be equal. Spanish speakers, you can correct me. Look at that, you guys. Going into these povertized countries like South Africa, Ecuador, or like in Serge Del Mar's case in Mexico. It's unbelievable. Jeez. Karen Powell is at the heart of it. Well, she's the PR, I think. Over the past 3 years, hundreds of thousands of Ecuadorian students. I already read that. I'm not going to read the same thing over and over. Scientologists inject tolerance. Tolerance, you guys. They don't tolerate gay people. They don't tolerate adults or children with any type of disability, whether it's cognitive disability, a physical disability, autism, seizures, epilepsy, someone in a wheelchair. Scientologists inject tolerance and compassion, right? I mean, unless you're homeless, of course, forget you. Into Ecuadorian society by conducting human rights seminars for police and educators and human rights education in the nation's schools. I mean, I think they have the Way to Happiness booklet, maybe. I don't understand how people can just fall for this. Like, they're just so good at charming people. I mean, we all know they believe in this. It's all of it is lies, but Scientology's founder, L. Ron Hubbard, wrote, allegedly, human rights, listen to this, you guys. Human rights must be made a fact. I mean, if this was him writing it, which I don't think all of it was, I mean, must be made a fact? Not an idealistic dream? Because, you know, children are not allowed to dream in Scientology. Their whole lives are printed out for them. The code of a Scientologist calls on all members of the religion to dedicate themselves, you know, children too, to support true humanitarian endeavors in the fields of human rights. Anyways, that's enough. Press contact Karen Powell at 323-960-3500. Email mediarelations@churchofscientology.net. I will leave a link in the description box. Like and subscribe if you choose. Otherwise, have an amazing day or night wherever you are. Peace.